I think we'll go right ahead and turn over to Ayatollah Safavi, my good friend. Ayatollah Safavi.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim wa bihi nasta'in. Salam to everybody, my friends, my colleagues. Today I'm going to talk about the Rumi spiritual heads. Rumi is one of the greatest Muslim mystics. His most important book is Masnavi, as all of you know. And Masnavi has been translated into English. And my doctorate dissertation at the SUAS University of London was on the structure of Rumi's Masnavi, which published by the title Rumi's Mystical Design by Sony Press in New York. In Masnavi, Rumi discusses God, knowledge, human, life, and love with a mystical approach. What is the definition of human spiritual health according to Sufism and especially Rumi? The ability of human to interact constructively with himself, society, nature, and God. Healthy life and human beings are based on the spirit of transcendent consciousness. Good thoughts, good words, and good deeds. Human is constantly becoming after birth. Becoming is very important term in philosophy and Sufism. Becoming is working and attached by suffering. Healthy human growth is based on human internal resources. Spiritual health includes our psychological and social well-being. It affects how we think, feel, and act as we cope with life. It also helps determine how we handle stress, communicate to others, and make choices. Spiritual health is important at every stage of life. Spiritual disorders are serious conditions which can affect our thinking and behavior. They can affect our ability to relate to others and function each day. Spiritual disorders are common in today's society, but there are treatments. People with spiritual disorders can get better, and many of them recover. The importance of spiritual health. Make a significant contribution to your society. Realize our full potential, understanding our full potentials, having positive and successful relationships, work effectively, and manage the stress of life. What are the signs of a spiritual health problem? Do we have spiritual health or we have problem with our spiritual health? What is the sign for problem? There are warning signs that you may have a spiritual health problem, including, what is the signs? This is, pay close attention to unpleasant memories. All time remember bad issues in our life in the past. Insist on sins systematically. We follow sins and we do various sins. Not suddenly, systematically. Negative behaviors and negative morals such as jealousy, arrogance, pride, selfishness, suspicion, and lying. Materialism. Materialism, it means all of life, all of my interest, it is just money and material issue, not anything else. Ambition, deception, delusion, harassment, anxiety, feeling helpless or hopeless. A change in eating or sleeping habits. Having low energy, having unexplained aches and pains, smoking, drinking, or using drugs more than usual. Feeling unusually confused, forgetful, angry, upset, worried, or scared. Having thoughts and memories that you can't get out of your head. Thinking of harming yourself or others. Not being able to perform daily tasks. What is spiritual health factors? There are several factors. We can't talk all factors in today's meeting. Just I'm talking about one factor, which is love, according to Rumi. We discussed about love in the book of Practice of Sufism. Later, maybe you can read this book by explaining Sufism, Practice Sufism and Safavid order, and explain love. This book. Love is the main gate to spiritual health and to the city of God. The basis and cause of love, the basic and cause of love is beauty. God is absolute beauty. He is beautiful, and He loves beauty. Love is the engine for spiritual health, without which the spiritual health is impossible. Without love, impossible. By love, the spiritual health flies toward the world of kindness and mercy and the divine word. And the path of love is better than any other path. Love makes the heart of the humankind clean and soft. Love helps the human leave behind and overtake his egoism faster than other traditions. Love purifies and filters the heart. The spirit is palace of love because it is from the divine word. When human become familiar with the divine love, his heart fills with him, hence there is no place for anything else. Love is the physician for all illness, all sicknesses, all illnesses, and disorders. It is the cure for all of the soul sicknesses such as selfishness, egoism, greed, jealousy, envy, pride, anger, and lust. According to Rumi, by love we reach certain type of knowledge which is not reachable by particular reason. What is the signs of love? There are several signs, but as I refer to some of these signs. The first sign is that the lover of God does not hate death. For no friend hates meeting a friend. And the Prophet said, whoever loves meeting God, God also loves meeting him. The second sign is that the lover of God sacrifices for his beloved and should cleave to what he knows brings him close to God and should avoid what places him at a distance. The fact of person sinning is not proof that he does not love God, but his love is not with all the heart. The great Sufi Jose said to certain man, if anyone asks you whether you love God, keep silent. For if you say, I do not love him, you are an infidel. And if you say, I do, your deeds contradict yourself. The third sign is that the remembrance and invocation of God should always remain fresh in one's heart. The fourth, which is very important, especially for today's society, the fourth sign, he will love all human beings, beyond of their religion, sect, culture, and civilization and nationality. For all are God's servants, but his love will embrace all beings, for they are created by him. And whoever loves anyone loves his composition. Then it means if you love God, then you should love his creation, which all people from all nationality and nature and everything. Then our health, spiritual health, is depend on how many of these signs are in our heart. Depend on the quality of the signs, this effect on our spiritual health situation. Now I read some verses from Rumi on Masnavi. I recite the Farsi and Hasti with translated English. Rumi talks so much about love in Masnavi and Divan Shams, as I choose as 12 verses, which are important for our meeting and for spiritual health. جسم خاک از عشق بر افلاک شد، کوه در رقص آمد و چالاک شد.
The body of the earth ascended to heaven from love. The mountain came in dance and became agile.
This verse of Rumi, he got this verse from the Quran, Surah Al-Araf, chapter 7, verse 143. This ayah refers to the Moses meets God on the mountain Sinai. Then Moses met God subhanahu wa ta'ala in the mountain Sinai, and mountain change his situation, this refers to that how mountain dancing with when God appeared to him. And this dance, it is because of love. ای دوای نخوت و ناموس ما، ای تو افلاطون و جالینوس ما.
O medicine of our arrogance and honor, O you Plato and our Galen.
In this verse, he refers to Aflatun and Jalinus. Aflatun, Plato, it is philosopher, and Jalinus, it is a physician. Then for your body health and mental health, base medicine, it is love. عاشقی پیداست از زاری دل، نیست بیماری چو بیماری دل.
Being in love is made manifest by soreness of heart. There is no sickness like heart sickness.
علت عاشق ز علتها جداست، عشق اصطلاب اسرار خداست.
The cause of the lover is separate from the causes. Love is the astrolabe of the mysteries of God.
In this verse, we refer that love is beyond our religion or culture or civilization. Love, it is because of love. And by love, we achieve to certain type of knowledge. عاشقی گر زین سر و گر زان سر است، عاقبت ما را بدان سر رهبر است.
Whether love be from this earthly side or from that heavenly side, in the end it leads us yonder.
It means any type of love lead us to transcendent love, because practicing love created soft heart and this preparation to communicate with transcendent love. But عشق‌هایی کز پی رنگی بود، عشق نبود عاقبت ننگی بود.
Those loves which are for the sake of a color are not love. In the end, they are a disgrace.
It refers to material love. You love somebody because of his hair or his body. It is not the true love. It is love to the color. عشق آن بگزین که جمله انبیا یافتن از او عشق و کیا.
Choose the love of him from whose love all the prophets gain power and glory.
But maybe we say how I can access to him, to God, with all of my sins. I'm a bad person. How I can access to this type of love? The answer, Rumi answer to this question. تو مگو ما را بدان شاهوار نیست، با کریمان کارها دشوار نیست.
Do not say we have no admission to that king. Dealings with the generous are not difficult.
هر که را دامان عشق نابوده، زان نثار نور بی بهره شده.
Whomsoever has lacked such a skirt of love is left without share in that strong largest of light.
If you don't have experience of love, then you lost your life. جزها را رویها سوی کل است، بلبلان را عشق با روی گل است.
The faces of particulars are set towards the universal. Nightingales are in love with the face of the rose.
باغ سبز عشق کو بی منتهاست جز غم و شادی در او بس میوه هاست.
The green garden of love is infinite. There are many fruits besides sorrow and joy.
عاشقی زین هر دو حالت برتر است بی بهار و بی خزان سبز و تر است.
Love is higher than these two states of feeling. Without spring and without autumn, it is ever green and fresh.
Then for meditation to communicate with love, I recite Zikr Allah Allah, and after that we can have question and answers. Then please close your eyes and release your mind. Allah, 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 Allah. 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 Thank you for your attention. Then now I am ready for question and answers. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Ayatollah Safavi. I was very struck by so many things there. And everybody can enter into this discussion, so just feel free, just indicate or raise a hand or whatever. But I was very struck by your statement. The green garden of love is infinite. There are many fruits beside joy and sorrow, or sorrow and joy. I was just thinking, as you spoke. I mean, one of the things that struck me was you listed negative ideas that included selfishness, pride, and in the same passage you listed low energy and hopelessness, which perhaps are weaknesses but not sins. Ambition was in the same list, which sometimes could be good, no? Or is it always a negative? It's like lust in a proper context. It can be, I don't know, but there seemed to be, and I wondered whether there is some sides of our more animal nature as opposed to our spiritual nature that are not necessarily bad, that they are part and parcel of our being and what we are. That was my thought. Jafar, please.
Thank you, William. Thank you, Ayatollah Safavi, for 10 years ago, I lost one of my closest friends. He came to London. He was living in Beirut. He came to London because his friend, his closest friend, his wife has died. So he stayed with him around 10 days, and he died in his home. So that was shocking this moment for us, for the friends. I remember when we took the body to Lebanon for burial, his friends, they put this statement on his coffin, which I'll say in Arabic. It's something to do with Ibn Arabi. It says, كل شوك يسكن باللقاء لا يعتد به. The translation in English is, I try to translate, it's every longing that dwells in the meeting is unreliable, or every yearning that lives in the meeting is unreliable. This statement struck me, although, we came from a relatively religious family, so we know the basics of the Islamic teachings. But this statement struck me really of Ibn Arabi, the famous Sufi philosopher. So when you love someone, you love him for himself. You love him where you don't expect reward. That's, I think, the best translation to it. And since then, this statement is always with me wherever I go. When you do something, you do it. You don't expect a reward for it. Thank you.
Turn to you, Ayatollah Safavi.
About William's question, it is in our internal faculty. For example, we have different type of potentiality, ambition or selfishness, for example. This could be useful sometimes this could be negative, sometimes positive, sometimes negative. Ambition is good if using to work hard, to expand our knowledge, our ability, our force to change the society, using our ambition for change the contribution positively in the community, or selfishness for defense yourself. But if selfishness, this is positive, but selfishness that you wanted everything just for yourself, it is negative. Then these types of internal faculties which God put in our spirit can use for negative or positive issue. Then there's a big discussion in the philosophy of ethics about how should control this potential. And best way it is the i'tidal, to be tolerance, all of this potential activity. No, okay, come. Then Jafar just gave a good comment. Then no answer. I agree with his comment. Very good comment. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, we turn to Ramsey. Ramsey, yes, please go ahead.
You're
next.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Ayatollah Safavi, thank you for accepting these two questions from me, and I'll try to be precise and clear. Some understanding of love from Sufism could be, and I'm not saying this is what the understanding you're giving, that love between people, between humans, is not true love because somehow it is based on outward appearance, or the word you used in your presentation was color. Is this a general principle in Sufism, or does Sufism accept that there can be even true love between people? That's the first question. The second question is rather specific. In Sufism, in modern day, we come across different orders or tariqah. Could you please explain briefly should we think of one tariqah or order being different from another? can there be so many differences? To help us to understand the correct meaning of tariqah or order. Thank you both for the question.
Thank you. Very interesting question, very practical, theoretical question. Thank you for your attention. It means you have good attention to Sufism. Thank you. First question, it is about love. It is very essential, very important. Our definition of love make differentiation between Sufism and theologian or fuqaha jurisprudence who just followed Sharia. In Sufism, most Sufism, tariqah, and Sufi characters such as Maulana, Ibn Arabi, Sheikh Safavid Sufi, Hafiz, they believe both metaphor love and truth love. Lost. They make a differentiation between lust and metaphor love. Then metaphor love, for example, just human, because metaphor love is not just love between human. Love between human nature, love between human and animal, trees, seas, it is some type of the metaphor love. Rumi believed that this earthly life, if you want, ishq zamini, practicing this type of metaphor love, prepare your heart to become soft and practicing, have attention to beauty. And this prepare you to have access to absolute love. Then ishq majazi, metaphor love, it is useful. And for this reason, they said in some Sufi tariqah, and even Rumi, as I refer to them, for example, that if you don't experience of love, you don't understand the life. Then this is referred to both to metaphor love and truth love. Then in Sufism, metaphor love, it is valid, but it is different from the lust, from the havas. And because, as I explained, this prepare your heart to familiar with this type of beauty and become soft and have attention to others, not just to yourself, attention to the super issue. You see, when you have attention to beauty of, for example, a flower or another people, woman or man, girl or boy, it is beyond of just the material issue. You see something interesting there, and then this type of attention prepare you to have attention to some transcendent issue. Then in Sufism, love people to each other, it is valid, and it is even advised that you should practice it and you should have. Love of wife and husband, love of parents and children, they are valid and very useful. And Sufis said, and if you don't love your kids or your parents or your partner, then you are, in some way, you are part of humanity. And it is different from some type of narrow understanding of Islam, which are in Daesh or in Taliban, that they just emphasize on the hateness and emphasize on the material wife and husband relationship, it is just material relationship. It is not love. You see, this is the sexual relationship. But in Sufism, husband and wife relationship, it is based on the love, which is far from the just bodily communication. Then the second question, in verse number 5, عاشقی گر زین سر و گرزان سر است عاقبت ما را بدان سر رهبر است. This is referred to importance of metaphor love. Whether loved from this side or from that side, in the end it leads us yonder. This verse, which is in Masnavi book 1, verse number 111, refers to metaphor, love, and his important role to help us to have attention to transcendent love. And the second question about Sufism order, in Islamic culture, we are various Sufism order. At the moment, we have around 14 Sufism order around the world, Sufi order, and all of them are valid. And Sufism, as you know, it is knowledge, spiritual knowledge of Islam. It is part of spirituality, part of Islam, and it is essence of Islam. And the source of Sufism order and teaching, theory and practice, it is based on Quran itself. And after that, Imam Ali tradition, all Sufi order, they have a chain. All of the chain finally achieved to Imam Ali, the successor of Hazrat Muhammad. He is the head of all Sufi order. Then it is very important that the source of Sufism and Sufi order, it is Quran and tradition of Imam Ali. The second issue, then it is not from the Buddhism or Hinduism or whatever the position of Sufism claim. The second issue, why they are various? It is because they are from different part of the geography of Islamic world. For example, Rumi was in Guinea, Shazali was in the north of Africa. The Shazali created Shazali order, and after his death, his student continue his way and follow his teaching, then this order established. It is in the north of Africa. But here in Iran, there was not Shazali. It was here in Iran we have Sheikh Safiuddin Aqlili, Shah Namatullah Wali. They are Iranian and Sufi. Then they established Sufi order. It means people believe them and follow them, and this order established and called by the name of the founder of this type of teaching, or Rumi in that time, Guinea, or Sheikh Zahid Gilani, which are from Iran, Abdul Qadir Gilani, and then, according to my research and thesis, it is no big essential differentiation between all Sufi orders, but maybe can divide them to three types of categories. The first Sufi movements more have attention to riyaza, to worship, to isolated from society, to praying, fasting, this type of issue, which call them Maktab Faqr, School of Poverty, or Baghdad School. The second category, second school, it is a school of love, which are a school of most Iranian Sufi, from Sana'i, Attar, Mulavi, and then later Ibn Arabi in North Africa, and Hafiz followed them. The second school, it is a school of love, and third school, it is a school of meditation, which after the school of poverty and the school of love, in a school of meditation, which Sheikh Safiuddin Ardebili, founder of this school, he emphasized that by meditation we can faster access to the transcendent supernature and control of their behavior and manage our spiritual health. The Muraqabah, school of Muraqabah or meditation, more or less start from the Sheikh Najmuddin Kubra, and then, but by Sheikh Safiuddin Ardebili become very familiar in Iran. Then we can divide these 14 Sufi orders to three main schools: a school of poverty, Maktab Faqr, a school of love, Maktab Ishq, and a school of Muraqabah, a school of meditation. All of them common on zikr, all of them, this zikr that I recited today for you, zikr Allah, Allah. Allah, Allah, it is main zikr for all of them. All of them have attention to zikr. Zikr, it means repeating beautiful name of Allah for concentration, for muraqabah, for practicing communication with God. All of them use this method. Allah, Allah, Subhanallah, Al-Hayy, Al-Qayyum, La ilaha illallah, La ilaha illahu, Ya Allahu, Yahu, Allahu Haqqun, Allahu Samadun, and continue. All of them common on zikr, and all of them common on muraqabah, meditation. It means itikaf and children nishini, arba'in, and 3 days isolation of the society, at least one time per year. All of them emphasize on the charity and helping people and supporting people. Then it is the Sufi order and a little differentiation.
Thank you. Thank you, Ayatollah Safavi. We turn to my friend Farhad, who's in Cairo. He's an artist, and actually a very impassioned artist. Much of his art is well, I would call it very poignant, but it's about tragedies and triumph over tragedy. But Farhad from Cairo, please go ahead. Do you want to? Yes, would you like to come in? Can you hear me, Farhad? Nagi and Farhad, are you Farhad? Yeah, there we are. Okay.
Okay, this is Abdul Mohsen.
Oh, Abdul Mohsen. Yes, yeah, sorry, Abdul Mohsen.
The husband of Nagia Saeed.
Yeah.
She had to go to another meeting. I'm replacing her. I hope it's all right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Great lecture, great subject. I appreciate every word. I have a question, actually multidimensional. There is an opinion that the Muslim world or Muslim society or even Muslim individual will not become holistic, will not become متجانس in Arabic. متجانس ومتكامل, has integrity, complete integrity, unless there is a peace, historic peace, intellectually, between the three main streams of Ibn Taymiyyah, Ibn Rushd, and Ibn Arabi. Ibn Taymiyyah representing the literal translation of religion, literal interpretation of religion, Ibn Rushd representing the rational interpretation of religion, and Ibn Arabi, of course, the Sufi, the inner dimension of Islam. And we are not talking about literally making peace between every detail here and here and there, but the mainstream, because there is, of course, you know far better than me that there are needless quarrels between these three mainstreams and their branches. So what do you think about that? Thank you very much.
Interesting question.
Very, very intellectual question. Before I'm going to answer to this question, I give an expand note to the previous question. That all Sufi characters such as Rumi and Hafiz and Ibn Arabi believe all orders are valid and you can follow all of them. But in practice, sometimes ignorant follower of one order believe no, just you should follow this specific Sufi order, not other. This is not Sufism. If Mawlavi order said, okay, just I am truth, nothing else, it is not Rumi saying. If Shazali said or Ni'matullah, it is not based on the view of the founder of each of all of Tariqa. Then in this way, we should distinguish between the claim of ignorant follower of Sufi order and principal teaching of founder of all Sufi orders that believe on truth and you can, based on where you are, follow one Sufi order. And about the question about Ibn Taymiyyah, Ibn Rushd, and Ibn Arabi, this is a very interesting question. And you see in Sunni word cultural history in some way it is a little different with Iran and Shia cultural history. This question that my friend raised, it is very important question and many challenges and debate in the Islam community. It is because of clash between these three schools. And in Shiism and Iran we are same. But in Iran, in 17th century, Sadr al-Muta'allihin, Sadruddin Muhammad ibn Ibrahim Shirazi Mullah Sadra appeared in Safavi time, and he combined all of these three ideas. Zahir, yani khabar hadith, wah hadith, aql, wa qalb. 4 issues. Wah hadith, aql, and qalb. Combination between Ibn Arabi and Ibn Sina, and theologian, which Ibn Taymiyyah is representative, and establish al-hikmatul muta'aliyah, transcendent philosophy. And after Mullah Sadra, this type of specific philosophy dominated in the seminary of Shia and Iranian community. Now we follow transcendent philosophy, which is combination of Ibn Arabi, Rumi, and Hadith, and reason, and Wahy. And but when we are going to talk about something based on philosophy, we just use the philosophical argument, not refer to Quran. But what we say, it is not against our Wahy of revelation of Quran. When we interpret Quran, we use our intellect and refer to ahadith and have a Sufi approach to understanding the verses of Quran. Then we do differentiation for each field, but in total, as you said, which is important, Sadr al-Mutallih or Mullah Sadra created a unity of knowledge between these three schools or four schools that call it Hikmatul Muta'aliyah, and main great Ayatollah thinker of Iran, they follow this school. Then this is the way that we should happen in the Sunni Islam world, which we have problem there. And the final issue is that I believe for present time, Sufism, it is the best way to manage extremism in Islamic world, and especially in North Africa, Shazaliya, which are very strong and very important and deep. It is best way to use Shazalism, Sufism, in order to, as a representative of Islam, to stop extremism, which call them as a representative of Islam. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And your reference to Mullah Sadra, or Mullah Sadra, depending on how you... This man, Ayatollah Safavi once gave me a book of the sayings, well, not so much the sayings, of commentaries on Mullah Sadra. And it's probably been one of the more influential books of my life. It really was fascinating to get this man's take on... He postulated a theory of evolution hundreds of years before Darwin, and his take on the concept that the whole universe was alive, not just the animals, but right through to the rocks and the stars. It's an interesting concept, and I found it very helpful. But I won't go on. But I do think Mullah Sadra is a remarkable thinker, Islamic philosopher. Neil, you were going to come in on. You wanted to come in. Please do go ahead.
Mullah Sadra, Life and Philosophy. If anyone interested can read Mullah Sadra philosophy in this book. And to my friend from Egypt, I would like to say my book, Structure of Rumi, is Masnavi, translated to Arabic and published in Cairo. Oh, wow. By title of the, let me see. Al-Masnavi, Kitab al-Ishq wa Salam. This is published in Cairo by Afaq Publication.
Thank you.
Anyway, thank you.
Thank you.
Al-Ishq wa Salam, Sayyid.
Salamun alaikum wa rahmatullah.
No, it's got the name of the book, Kitab al-Ishq wa Salam.
Al-Masnavi, Kitab al-Ishq wa Salam. Salam. Peace.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, well, thank you for that. That's Important. And we turn to Neil. Neil has... Oh, sorry.
Book of Love and Peace.
Okay. All right. We're Neil Patrick. Yes, Neil.
Thank you, William. Thank you, Ayatollah Safavi. What I wanted to ask was, when you were describing love, I was so struck by its significance in terms of its power. You mentioned overcoming painful memories. You mentioned those who are lost in sin. You talked of love as a capacity to connect with nature, with all of God's creation, both animal and human. You talked of love as an understanding of the other, an appreciation of the beauty of the other. And when you talked about ways in which we might, as I understood it, ways in which we might channel that sentiment ourselves through meditation, through use of the dhikr, the repetition of the different names of God, for example, through chanting, and as some Sufi musicians would also do, it made me wonder, in a sense, is it possible to conceive of this notion of love far removed from the way it's normally characterized, but as somehow universal and connecting us with God? Is it possible, in a sense, to think of this notion of love as almost synonymous with God? That God is inseparable from this conception of love, and that they are almost, because they are of the universe and the entirety of creation, they are almost the same thing.
Interesting thought.
So love and God are the same thing, in the sense that God is love. Is that is what you mean, Neil? I think, but is that right?
Yes, but I mean the intensity of the understanding of love that I was getting from Ayatollah Safavi, in its completeness, in its total denial of self, in its connection to the entirety of God's creation, both human, animal, the very rocks, to the sense that we were talking about. The intensity and the absoluteness of that love, does that then become synonymous with God?
این وجود عشق انسان و حیوانات دارد، آیا اون در واقع پس میشه خدا؟ آیا اون عشق میشه خدا؟
You see, thank you. If I understand, it is about the love and God. What is love? What is God? God and love same or they are different? Is it this question? Yeah.
I think
if
so.
It is.
Yes.
Yeah. If it is, we say al-ishq. We have three issues. Al-ishq, wal-ashiq, wal-ma'shuq. Ishq, it is love, loved, and lover. Three issues. At the beginning, we think we are lover and God is beloved. And the communication way, it is ishq, love. But at the end, we see unity of love and beloved and lover. Al-ishq, wal-ma'shuq, wal-ashiq. It's like al-aql, اتحاد عقل و عاقل و معقول. اتحاد عقل و عاقل و معقول. Then معشوق, love. Love, lover, beloved. There is unity. In different aspects, we emphasize on one of them. but finally they have unity. And all creation, سبح لله ما في السماوات والأرض وهو العزيز الحكيم. Everything in the universe love him and his love. يحبهم ويحبون in Quran said. They love all and they love him. Then in Sufism, Allah it is ishq, Allah is ma'shuq, and Allah is ashiq. In the top level of when you achieve to top level of Sufism, you understand and you can see that the ashiq is him and we are ma'shuq. The creator is ashiq, creator and creation is ma'shuq. But at the beginning we think that creation is ashiq and creator is ma'shuq. But in Tafish we understand that it is in reverse. But finally we see there is unity. And in the Sufism, we believe that there is just one being. La ilaha illa hu. There is nothing except him. La ilaha illa hu. Others, they are just manifestation of him. Other universe, me and you, animal, trees, ocean, sea, everything. All of us manifestation of him. All of us are shadow of him. Then in Sufism believe to wahdatul wujud, unity of existence. And there is just one existence, which is God. Others, they are manifestations of him. Then by this way, we don't see so much, we see unity in plurality, plurality in unity. وحدة في الكسرة، كسرة في الوحدة. And by this way, see the unity of the existence, which is Allah, God, and others' manifestation of him. But for understanding this issue, practicing love, it is the best way to achieve to this type of knowledge. And love have different functions. Sometimes this become existential issue. Sometimes it is a epistemological issue. Sometimes it is a way. Sometimes it is the subject. It is sometimes a being. Allah, it is in himself, it is ishq and ashiq and ma'shuq. Thank you. I hope I could answer your question.
Thank you very much. Thank you. It's helpful.
Thank you. Yes, you answered the question with something that always raises issues in my mind. The concept that we are all part of God. We have the same concept in Christianity where St. Paul says it is God within whom we live and move and have our being. So it's always a concept that I have found uncomfortable, but that's maybe an aspect of my selfishness. However, there is another question here in the chat, and I mustn't neglect it, although it's a little bit technical, so I wouldn't want to because I don't want to divert us from our spiritual side of things, but it's from Ahmed Shathal, who is actually in Aden in Yemen, and he always claims not to have good English. His English seems to me superb because he can write this complicated question in the chat, but I will read it. He says, and he's with us here, but he says, during the Corona period, there are studies. The levels of people's satisfaction with what comes out of the ruling authority, whether religious or not, was high, but in the beginning. But he's saying, but it quickly declined. In other words, people's trust in authority, including religious authority, has declined. And the reason, he says, is because the people in authority did not keep up with the technology, the way forward, and basically, I don't want to get too technical. He asks questions about things that are not really directly spiritual, but more applications to daily life. But out of respect for him as one of our members here today, whether the basically in this time of coronavirus, the power to conduct marriages and so on should be allowed in Zoom and so on. So it's rather a technical question. It is in the chat. I just wanted to basically has the religious world failed us in time of Zoom and coronavirus? Has it failed to step up in leadership? It's almost a kind of question that Reverend Larry Wright is good on. But Ayatollah Safavi, I think the religious world has failed slightly in leadership, but then so has the political world. I think all of our leaders have let us down slightly in this time. But that question is from Ahmed in Aden, who is one of the people here with us. Ahmed, I hope I've represented your question correctly. You're welcome to, but yes. So yes, Ayatollah Safavi. I know he won't speak it himself. The connections are bad with Aden, but he is with us. Do you want to touch on any of that, or it's not directly relevant to our discussion, but?
You answer very quick answer. Coronavirus is the virus. It's the material issue. And physicians, doctors should manage this issue. It is not referred to the religion. Then some people said, okay, for this.
Coronavirus, religious authority اون نقشه که باید بازی میکرده نکرده. Sorry, William, can you hear me?
Yes, indeed.
I personally, I don't understand the question either. So he's saying that during the coronavirus period, the religious authorities didn't do what they were meant to do? Is that what he's asking?
I think that's what he's saying. Yes, his question is in the chat. Ahmed, if you want to try and Ahmed, Ayatollah Safavi understands Arabic. If you want to ask in Arabic, please, if you can connect with us. Maybe sometimes the links are very poor with Yemen.
Here, see, there is a question about this issue that for coronavirus we should refer to the religious authority or to the medicine. Anyway, I would like to answer to this question that we say no, coronavirus, it is a virus, it is a material issue, and we should refer to the medicine issue. No need to listen to the religious authority. Religious authority, even they follow the doctors and they should use the vaccination. But maybe some narrow-minded religious people believe, no, we don't need the vaccination. We should just pray. We don't agree. We don't agree.
May I say something? The question is, as William put it at the beginning, I think Ahmed saying that during the coronavirus, the question is about how people can manage their daily life where they are at home. Like, let's say they have questions about marriage, for instance, why they cannot make the marriage through contract through Zoom. That's his main question.
Yeah.
Why should be still in person?
religious ruling هم باید نسبت به اون تطبیق پیدا بکنه which is perfect.
No, this is the ijtihad issue. This is for this is the ijtihad issue. This is depend on the mujtahid how answer to this type of questions. Then about the marriage issue, there are different type of fatwa. Then we should follow the fatwa. Then it is first time that I hear that no, if you are far from each other, then you can marry. This is no need to be in the same room to make khutbah and act marriage khutbah. Then it is there.
Thank you, Ayatollah Safavi. I will, I mean, I shouldn't, but I will add a footnote. The teachings of Mullah Sadr helped me come to an accommodation with the concept of coronavirus, because he said, this is my misinterpretation possibly, but he, as I read him, suggested that God has taken his hand from all creation. So in order to give free will, he doesn't give free will uniquely to humanity. He gives it to all animals, all the volcanoes and the viruses, all have freedom, and therefore things will go contrary. But without that, if I didn't misread Mullah Sadr, what he's saying is that without giving that free will, we would be walking around in some perpetual Garden of Eden, and our own freedom would be hampered. It's only because God has taken his hand away from everything, all creation, and that all creation is alive, that and we must deal with those consequences. It was forgive me, that I'm probably completely wrong in paraphrasing Mullah Sadr's thinking, but that's what it led me to believe.
This is referred to al-jabr wal-tafwiz, determination and free will. The sheer point of view is that la jabr wa la tafwiz bal am bayn al-amrayn. Translate to English. No 100% determination, no 100% free will. Am bayn al-amrayn. It is between these two.
Okay. Thank you so much.
لا جبر ولا تفويض بل عام بين الأمرين.
Okay. Bless you. We have Nick McLean has a question. Ajok has a question in the chat. And Abdul Mohsin has a question. I think Jafar also wants to come back. So we'll start with Nicholas McLean. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ayatollah Safavi. I in fact have two questions. The first is, we're talking about the coronavirus, is to mention that I know some Christian people who are very influenced by Psalm 91 in the Bible, which has the words, the Lord will protect me from pestilence. And their interpretation of that is that they therefore do not need vaccination, whereas my interpretation is that vaccination, if proven scientifically, is a means of carrying out God's will for self-protection. It would be very helpful to have your comments on those two divergent interpretations. The second question is much broader. It would be very interesting to know the roots, as you see them, in the nature of Sufism, in its expression of the love of God through music and dance and love of the arts and architecture and poetry. The very distinct nature of Sufism as opposed to other forms of reaching out and connecting with God seem to be very, very strong in cultural terms. And it would be very interesting if you could comment on that.
Thank you.
Two separate points.
Very interesting question. Thank you for your intellectual questions. The first, it is about the chrono. As I said,
Can you turn it up?
We say this is very ignorant understanding of religion, that because of God and we believe to God, then God protect us. Then if it is, then you don't need to eat or drink, or when you are sick, you don't need to go to the doctor or whatever. No. In Farsi we said, you trust to God, but you should follow the intellect, you should follow the ordinary issue, which your intellect, your science lead you. This type of issue, sickness, illness, you should follow the sciences. And religion, it does not mean that you should ignore modern sciences. Religion, it is for ethical issue, for spiritual issue, communication with God, but how we manage traffic, how we manage pain, sickness, it is referred to sciences. And we should follow their professionality, and whatever they advise us based on the scientific research, we should follow them. And it is the religious authority advise this way. Just some very minor people in any religion, they call this type of issue. Then definitely I don't believe, and the majority of ulama of Islam doesn't believe that this type of understanding of Bible or Quran or Old Testament. Then, God created, God has dominated His will, He controls everything, but it is not against our will and responsibility to care about ourselves. We should care about ourselves, and we should follow intellect and science. And it is about this issue, first question. And the second issue, you are right. Sufi, as they are representative of the spiritual side of Islam, aspect of Islam, mainly they refer, in Sufism we say Allah have two types of name, Jamali and Jalāli. Beautiful names and maybe dignity names. The most name of Allah, it is beautiful names. Such as Subhanallah, Wal Aziz, Wal Kareem, Rahman, Rahim. This is all it is about it is beautiful name. It is referred to the beautiful names. Then because of that, they use the beauty instrument, beauty way, and the art, it is the best instruments to present Islam and your experience. For this reason, many of them involve calligraphy, handwriting. Most of them follow Sema, this is the spiritual dance, music, and in the Sema use the music, and even without Sema, they use different type of music. In Iran, for example, we have some music instrument, just it is for the Sufi order. First, it is the tanbur.
Yes.
Tanbur, which is in Kurdistan, they use it. This is main. This tanbur doesn't use for any type of other music. Before that, even daf just was for the Sufi gathering and Sufi practicing. What? And before that, for example, ney even mainly used for the Sufi gathering, and David was the first who used that. But Sufi believe. I give one story. It is very interesting for you. I had a meeting with one of the Sufi. Then he said to me that when God shaped the body of humankind, Adam, in the heaven, and wanted put a spirit in the body, this spirit didn't go to the body. He didn't go. He was far. Didn't accept to go to there. Then God used tanbur to make him drinking and dancing, and then by tanbur music he went to the body. Then it is the rule of the tanbur or daf or ney. And then architecture is another type of the Sufi using art, and poetry. I don't matter to all Maulana and Ibn Arabi and Ibn Faris and Hafiz, Saadi, all of them use poetry. The most important is Rumi. Then you are right, and it is because art, it is representative of the beauty of God, and Sufism, it is about the beauty and practicing beauty and practicing communicate with beauty.
Thank you. But in some Islam there are restrictions on the representation of the human form in art.
Human form نشون مثلا که human form نمیتونه بدن انسان رو نمیتونه بکشه بر اساس اسلام. In religious monuments, I mean that's what's been told, I don't know whether it's right or wrong. In religious monuments you cannot depict human figures.
This is about all time, but in present time, no, there is no any. So
you can depict a human being in a mosque? That will not be idolatry?
No, it is the mosque.
So in a religious building, in a non-religious building, they can.
No, in religious building, yes, it is. But for painting the human body, you can paint. Before that, it is because of for the Buddhist to avoid the idolatry. They forbidden this matter, but now there is no this type of.
But issue. It's the same thing in a religious building. In a religious building, you cannot depict human figures because it's idolatry. So the law still exists to this day.
For animals, for trees, for example, when you go to Shah Abdul Azim in Iran, you can see the painting of some birds and trees and the garden and this type of and in the mosque today in Iran they put the picture of leaders, of shuhada, martyrdom, important figures. Then in some way this change.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Very welcome.
Thank you indeed. Now we have Ajok has a question in the chat. Then Abdul Mohsen. Let's just Ajok. Your question is I'll just read it. Do Sufi pay zakat or sadaqah? She puts, but zakat I think we mean equivalent to tithing in Christianity. Yes, I'm not sure. Ajok's from I believe in South Sudan. I'm not sure how many Christians in South Sudan tithe their income. I'm not sure very many of us in Britain tithe our income, but nonetheless, I could almost answer yes to this. Sufi do pay zakat, like all Muslims that are practicing Muslims. Is that not so, Ayatollah Safavi?
Yes, Sufi pay their zakat or sadaqah or whatever.
There's no difference between a Sufi and a Muslim.
Sufi, they are Muslim. They are not different from other Muslims. But Sufi, they are real Muslim because they have deep attention to the spirituality of Islam. Normal Muslim, they just follow the very basic issue. But Sufi follow Sharia and see beyond of Sharia then something else and try to understand the philosophy of Sharia. Then Sufi, it is a real moment which follow Sharia and try to understand secret aspect of the reality and philosophy of praying and fasting. You see, this is differentiation between Sufi and ordinary Muslim. Then all Sufi, they are Muslim and practicing Sharia. If the Sufi doesn't practice Sharia, he's not Sufi. He's not. To become Sufi, you should practice Sharia. But Sufi believe just practicing Sharia it is not enough. You should go beyond of that and understand philosophy of Sharia, of Ibadat, of fasting and Hajj and praying and this type of issue. Then they follow all wajibat like other Muslims.
Thank you, Ayatollah Safavi. We're actually moving. Unbelievably, we've gone well over an hour and a half, and we're moving into the last section of our meeting. Abdul Mohsen is next. Abdul Mohsen, come in again.
My question is also on the relationship between Sufism and art and architecture on the other side. In a way, let me say I'm happy that Nicholas raised this question and you made a deep answer to it. Now I have a specific question that in historic Islamic architecture there are what can we call today decorations. Now these decorations are understandably abstract. Most of them, not all of them, but most of them are abstract compositions, abstract paintings. And they have, in artistic terms, I'm sorry, you hear me or not?
Yeah, we
can't hear you.
Yeah.
Okay.
No,
I heard till the part that you said that the decorations were.
Okay, the decorations in historic Islamic architecture are mostly abstract. Some of them relate to plant figures, but most of them are geometric patterns. And in a way, it has been mentioned to explain this, is that this is the Muslim artist's way to recite dhikr, to recite God and His names, etc., and His ability, and to illustrate the order, the cosmic order. So all of this is appreciated, but we have here a contradiction, because some of the decorations are excessive, a lot of decorations, and in spite of the fact that Sufism is against extravagance, is against overspending. So how do you relate to this? Let me say also that some of the beautiful manifestations of Sufism and Islamic thought in architecture is the stalactiles, the shift from the square to the dome. You have small elements to make this shift. Here you have an integration between the material and the space, so between the body and the spirit, in a way. So I think there are a lot of dimensions, beautiful dimensions, but the contradiction is when it becomes excessive. Is this a true expression of Sufism that calls for modesty?
I think you're talking about the human condition. I remember so many of us are torn, aren't we, between excessive flamboyance and simplicity. Ayatollah Safavi, sorry. Go ahead, yeah.
Okay, at first I asked my daughter, Hasti, who is her PhD is about the philosophy of art.
Yes. Yeah. Hasti's an expert on Islamic architecture. So.
Yes, of course, the geometry and the patterns that you see in Islamic monuments, they play a fundamental role, because all the patterns that are used in any kind of monument, they arise from different shapes, and different shapes in Islamic geometry have different meanings. The same as when it comes to numbers, the same as when it comes to the colors that have been used, the lighting that has been used. Every single thing that has been used in a monument has a significance when it comes to Islamic art. Now, whether that is perceived as excessive or not, in my opinion, is that when, for example, you see in a monument, it's being, different materials have been used, best craftsmen have been used, is because that monument is a symbol of an Islamic fundamental belief, and what is not a better way to show such beliefs in a manner of showing such beauty using different elements. So in my opinion, there is no excessiveness, and it does not contradict Sufism, because Sufism is beauty, and yes, art is beauty, and this is the artistic way of portraying the beauty aspect of Islam through using different elements, through using geometry, through using numbers, through using different colors, etc., etc.
Yeah, this is right. This is the answer that I wanted to say, and she did, and she experts on this issue.
Well, bless you, Ayatollah Safavi. I mean, what I would like to do, we're in the last 10 or 12 or so minutes, is just ask anybody, everybody that has not, does anybody feel that they haven't answered a question, they asked a question they wish to ask, before we go to Ayatollah Safavi's concluding remarks? Because if you have one, otherwise we will move to Ayatollah Safavi's concluding remarks. But I don't want anybody, particularly anybody who hasn't asked a question, Erna or Igor or anybody, Louise, or that hasn't had a chance. Do you, Igor? Was that you indicating you'd like to come in? Please do if you want to. You're very welcome to if you. Or are you okay? You have to unmute yourself if you want to speak, of course, but that is one of the technicalities that I cannot control. The Zoom world. No, if anybody wants to, that hasn't...
Can you hear?
Now we can hear you go. Yes, go ahead. Yes,
You can hear me?
We can. We'll make your... do you have a question you'd like to ask?
No, well, it's not a question. It's one or two remarks.
Please.
First, concerning the art in architecture, we have to remember that in the 7th century, the raising Islam had all the models of Christian churches or Byzantine churches. And there was the architecture, the dome. Actually, the first architects in Islam, they were Byzantine architects, because raising Islam didn't have the tradition of building stone, big, wonderful buildings and mosques. And of course, they took, from the Christian Byzantine tradition a lot of inspiration, except that it was remarked not using portraits, human, and in Christian churches you have the saints, the faces and of saints, and this was prohibited in Islam. But concerning the art, there was already, this very close to, geographically at least, a tradition of Byzantine churches. That's the first remark. And the second, I want, when Ayatollah Safavi spoke of love, and somebody said, well, God is love. I want to mention a saying, the teaching of Jesus, of Christ, which is not well known. And he says these extraordinary words, that the first commandment to love God with all your soul, with all your being, yes. And the second commandment, which is to love humans, to love the other human as you love yourself. And Jesus says that these two commandments are the same. And this is extraordinary, because in the commandments from Moses, yes, from Moshe, the first is put above all, yeah. And then Jesus says that the second, the first and the second are the same. Why? Because if you love really deeply, transcendently, as Safavi said, then of course you love God's creation, and of course the pearl of the creation, the human being. So if you love God, you love the human being, even among, the bandits and the thieves and the murderers. However, you like the creation of the human. And the same, you cannot leave God if you don't like the whole humanity, including its defects and its bad aspects. So I think it's important to mention this, that Jesus said that God and the love of humanity is very, very intricate. But of course, for us, to say God is love, it's a kind of tender way of naming God, because we say God, well, God is not definable, we can say, and then to say that God is love, we know what it is. Well, the little love, not the transcendent love. But however, we have some contact with love, you see. And so to say that God is love, it's a way, of course, to go towards his mystery. So it's why people like to say that God is love. But it's another thing, it's to practice its love. This is much harder. Yeah. Thank you, Ayatollah Safavi, for your talk.
Well, thank you so much, Igor. Yes, of course, Christianity and people's interpretations of Christianity, yes, those are the very familiar saying of Jesus, and these are the greatest two commandments: love God and love each other. But Ayatollah Safavi, we will turn to you for your closing remarks, and then we'll turn to Reverend Larry Wright to maybe just to give a word of thanks on behalf of all of us. And it's really good to have him with us here today as well. Ayatollah Safavi, yes.
It was very pleasure to see all of you today and have this intellectual discussion. And I received very good comments and remarks and questions. And my discussion didn't finish. In next meeting, I will continue this topic with emphasis on the relationships, full relationship, spiritual relationships with self, with nature, with God, and with society. How this four type of relationship, how the quality of this four relationship for spiritual health. What is Sufism order or Rumi perspective for these four types of relationships? And we continue this discussion, and I enjoy all the remarks, comments, and questions. And I would like to emphasize that Islam and Sufism respect to Judaism, to Christianity. It is continuation. Islam is continuation of Judaism and Christianity, and based on the Sufism understanding, we believe to dialogue between all religions and cultures. And Sufism believe the essence of all religion, in Islam, in Christianity, in Judaism, it is spirituality. And art, it is the best way to present it. Religion, and both Christianity and Islam have very great history to create different type of arts. And it is all. And then thanks for your participation. Thank you very much, and thank you for organizing this very intellectual and spiritual meeting, William and Mrs. Veronica.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Well, we'll let Larry close the meeting. Reverend Larry give concluding remarks.
I would like to say one word.
Oh, before he does just.
Well, I think in this world there are people starving to death in the area, and I really think, at this time, people shouldn't starve to death. In 2000, whatever it is, people are dying of hunger in the sort of Middle East. So I just feel really sort of, we should actually think about people who are starving to death.
Well, love in practice is what we need, therefore. Yeah. Thank you so much, Veronica. Larry, we'll let you close the meeting.
Thank you. Well, once again, Ayatollah Safavi and your family, and special thanks to Hasti for her contribution as well. I think I would like to say that you've opened the curtains of transcendence through Rumi and give us a glimpse of what is possible and feasible for human beings to reach the heights of the spiritual pathways. It's not easy. It takes commitment, dedication, reflection, and it probably takes a lifetime for many of us to even think we're making progress along those spiritual pathways. But what always helps us along the way, whichever spiritual path we've taken, is to hear the wise words of people like yourself who have trod those spiritual paths faithfully and diligently for so long, and share your wisdom so generously with those of us who are still on those pathways. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you indeed. Thank you very much. And God bless you one and all. Many, many thanks for this. Bless your hearts. Thank you.
God bless you. God bless all of you.
Bless you.
Assalamu alaikum.
As-salama.